Are you ready to take charge of your well-being? Well, if so, you're in the right place. Welcome to Optimal Living KW. I'm Kelly Wagner, and Optimal Living is all about showing you how to stop just surviving in life and how to start thriving. How? By taking an integrated approach to well-being. At Optimal Living, we understand that there are lots of different factors that play into your feeling of well-being and your levels of personal satisfaction with your life. And we take a look at how those factors are interconnected with one another. You'll learn steps that you can take today as you embark on a journey towards a more holistic understanding of your health and your happiness. The focus of today's show is on environmental health. Now, in our contemporary culture, it's easy for us to forget how much we're influenced by our natural environment and by the conditions that surround us. With all the TVs, electronics, computers, and all the other modern-day conveniences we have, most of us spend a disproportionate amount of our time completely disconnected from nature. Meanwhile, our natural surroundings are some of the most fundamental resources that support our life and our well-being here on Earth. So on today's show, we're going to take a look at some of the ways that you can improve not only your own health, but also the health of your local and your global environment. To help us do that, we're going to be speaking with Aboriginal elder Mayingun Henry and local chef Nick Benninger. But first, we get to visit with a man who's spent most of his career encouraging people to live, work, and play outside the box, and certainly outside of any buildings. Dennis Wendland is here from Evergreen, a charitable organization that helps green the cities with all the different greening projects that you do. Thanks for literally coming out with us today.
And thank you for allowing us to have this interview out here. And it's my most favorite environment.
It's beautiful out here. And I think that's one of the things, a lot of us spend a lot of time in our offices, in our homes, in the places we work, and we don't actually get outside enough anymore. But why is it that being outside and being around nature is good for us in the first place?
Well, most of my experience is with children, but anything I have to say about children certainly applies to us because we should all be big kids.
That's right.
When we're doing things. But basically, once you get outside, it's what we're really after and what the benefit is it develops a sense of place for kids. If we spend 90% of our time indoor, we sort of lose that sense, that whole connection with the small environment around us in our community, but also the large environment, the globe and Mother Earth and Gaia, that sort of thing. So the whole sense of place is really important. The other thing is sense of wonder. When children and adults get out into a place like this, then the questions just start to come.
Yeah.
And then those questions can lead to imagination. Development of the senses. And that just is holistically just really good to develop all aspects of the being, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And that's the advantage of going for a walk down a boardwalk like this, or standing out in a natural park like the Huron Natural Area in the city of Kitchener and Steckley Woods and things like that. So really it's basically trying to reconnect children with nature.
And I like the idea that you mentioned about the sense of wonder that happens with children. My own son, like most kids his age, is of course into video games and things on the computer as well as playing outside. But when I bring him outside, out here, in fact, to feed the chickadees, it's like, you see the eyes light up. And it's observing that natural interaction that I think can kind of enhance. I mean, immediately a smile comes to your face. So that's a definite improvement to our well-being.
Yes, I had a picture of my daughter here when she was very young, feeding the chickadees, and I wanted to use that picture in a flyer to promote our program. Mm-hmm. And the graphics person said, "Oh, well, she looks scared stiff. And why would you want to use that picture?" But then I said, well, look in her eyes. And it was that questioning sense of wonder and that having that little bird land on her hand. That was the whole reason for the flyer, promoting the program, the whole reason for the program. But that adult had missed that, that whole connection with nature, sense of wonder, questioning, amazement, just in awe.
And that feeling of connection is important. We talk about that in terms of social health and the importance of relationships, but our relationship with nature and relationship with the planet that we live on is equally important.
Definitely.
And you do a lot of work with school greening projects. So there's definitely an awareness of having the importance of greenery and nature for children's learning. Why is it beneficial for kids to have natural environments when they're trying to learn?
Well, there's a lot of research on that. One of my favorite places is because it explains it simply as the Human and Health Laboratory, Sullivan and Co., University of Illinois. Just being in nature, their research promotes the notion that give kids a green pill rather than the pharmaceutical Ritalin because it reduces symptoms of ADD and ADHD behavior.
It does.
Their research indicates too, and for the whole community, that if you have more green area, it gets more use, and with more people there means there's less crime. So the police are even encouraging these sorts of things. If you have a negative-looking area, sterile, barren, then it sort of draws in more vandalism and tagging and graffiti and things like that. They have studies too, and it's proves it for girls. I don't know why not boys. I can't explain it, but that just being in an environment, living in a house looking out at trees. So it doesn't even have to be in an environment like this. It can just be a few trees, a few shrubs, a little bit of greenery. For girls, it increases self-esteem and self-confidence, and the result of that is better test scores if we're worried about test scores.
Right.
There's medical research, and all the fields have the research. Medical research. If I was in a hospital bed recovering, I was going to be there 10 weeks.
Yeah.
If I'm looking out a brick wall, it's 10 weeks. If I'm looking out at a few trees waving in the wind, my recovery's dropped to 9 because of the effect on blood pressure and that positive attitude and that sort of thing. So it makes a difference in that case as well. Another source of mine, the Children in Nature Network out of the States, indicates that because we are 90% inside and kids are in this high-tech world, myopia is becoming a problem for 12-year-olds, for example. So if you just get kids outside more at that age level, it drops that incidence of myopia, creating street trees. If you increase street trees for our city fathers to make those decisions, it has a positive influence on asthma. Because asthma is really increasing.
Okay, wow. That's amazing when you start to hear about some of the statistics and the studies that are done and how being in nature impacts our wellness. It's almost like you can't not recognize the importance of it. So what are some ways for all of us, if we do work in environments that are indoors, what are some ways that we can all bring nature into our lives a little bit more?
Well, I look at it sort of from the backyard to your neighborhood, to the municipality. In terms of individuals and families and our backyards, it's just go for walks in nature like this each week. Try some gardening. It can be a large gardening project in the backyard, or it can be as little as putting bean seeds in a pot. Because for kids, especially, it's that notion of that seed changes into, it starts to show the progress of life. And if I give it water or don't give it water, and it starts to make connections. So it's that sort of thing. Make a little part of your backyard as a no-mow and just let it go wild and see what happens there. For schools, it's green school grounds. Our school grounds are pretty barren places. Yeah. And with all those other medical and educational and sociological research proving that a few trees makes a difference, put some on school grounds. For our communities, it's nature play spaces. We spend $60,000 on these vinyl and tubular structures. Yeah. City of Edmonton, for example, since the late 70s, has been doing natural playgrounds rather than all built or commercial structures, and they've had great success with that. Wonderful.
That's fantastic. So many great ideas for easy ways to bring nature back into our lives and get back outside with our natural environment. Thanks so much, Dennis.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You can find more information about Dennis's work and about Evergreen at our website at optimallivingkw.com. When we come back, we'll be visiting with Aboriginal elder Mayingan Henry to reconnect with Mother Earth. We'll be right back. There once was a time before cars, high-rises, and even electricity, when people lived much closer to the planet, both literally and figuratively. We're now seeing a resurgence in consciousness about our connection to the earth. And here to share some ancient wisdom about how our health is connected to the health of the planet is Aboriginal elder Meangan Henry. Thanks so much for making time with us today.
Thank you.
So, Meangan, how does the current trends, there's a lot of current trends about taking care of the environment and greening, but how does that reflect ancient wisdom about how our health and the planet's health are reflections of one another?
I think it's high time we finally start looking at the things that are happening today. Although it doesn't go far enough, we still need to have a new way of looking at life and how we coexist with our mother, the earth, so that everything can run true. Our creation stories talked about us being a part of the environment, and we need to make sure that we understand that every day.
Sure. And there's even, you had mentioned current projects going on in terms of consciousness about it between Six Nations and between the Ministry of the Environment. So there is very much a conversation happening, if you will.
Historically, we've always been a part of the environment here, but we're finally working together with Ministry of Natural Resources, Ministry of Environment, to kind of bring those spiritual essences back together with what's happening with today's program. So I think it's a really good benefit for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us maybe about, is there an Aboriginal tradition or custom that sort of centers around that connection between our wellness and the wellness of the planet?
Well, we're told in our stories that we come from our mother, the earth. So we're totally a part of that whole existence. And if there's a custom or if there's anything that we need to know about, it's just taking a look at ourselves, because we're told that we come from our mother, the earth. Every Aboriginal nation in Canada, United States, all have those same teachings. And if we kind of look at ourselves first, how we connect with ourselves and with our environment, then you'll see the custom and all those things that need to be talked about today.
I see. Okay. Now, traditional Aboriginal medicine uses plants and herbs to heal illnesses. Tell us about your medicine gardens.
Well, medicine gardens are natural. Today, we can travel throughout Southern Ontario and find different types of medicines that are prevalent in different parts of the environment. And what I've been seeing is a regrowth in a lot of these different areas, but also we're losing traditional medicine. So our medicine garden expands all across what we call our mother. And when we travel, we see different medicines in different locations. So we don't have a place where we can actually plant our medicines. We let them grow natural, and then we use them to that extent.
Okay. So that's a big part of Aboriginal wisdom, too, is sort of using the resources that you find around you. Is that correct?
That's totally correct, but it's also not depleting those medicines also, and also giving thanks to those medicines for allowing us to use them in medicinal purposes, not just grabbing them and using them, but making sure that we allowed sustainability within all those plants also.
Sure. And referring that to, everyone's familiar with the 3 R's of reduce, reuse, and recycle. So reducing comes to be part of it too, like you mentioned, not just, grabbing all natural resources for whatever, convenient purpose that you might have, but thinking about how that's going to affect the supply in future and its impact on the environment as well.
Mm-hmm. That's totally right. If we don't, take a look at it from that perspective, then, and we've already seen it happen, where some of the plants have been taken over by invasive species or just lack of control within where those plants grow. Mm-hmm. And some of those medicines we can't regain. So it's important to know that we are having to live in balance with everything.
Yes, certainly. And that's a key element, I think, of Aboriginal tradition, is living in balance in all aspects of our lives, with whether that be with the natural environment or with our social relationships. And just speak a little bit about the element of balance in Aboriginal tradition.
Well, that's everything that we have. Our medicine wheel talks about living in balance, because today we don't see balance in our lifestyle. We work too much. Sometimes that's taken us out of balance. Sometimes, the cost of living today makes us that way, but we're depleting in another area if we don't do that. Maybe time we spend with our kids, maybe with our environment, or if we don't control our mental capacity, our emotional capacity, then we start getting out of balance and we don't see the things that need to be seen. So if we live in the center of like what the medicine wheel teaches us, then we'll have all the elements that give us a good life.
Beautiful. So, Megan, what are some of the ways that maybe people can get back reconnected with nature so that both their health improves and the planet's health improves at the same time?
Well, take a really good look at yourself and how you live and what things we don't really need to have all the time. You know, we're taking from the environment and it's costing us a lot of money just due to technology and our growth in that area. But just to have that fulfillment of yourself, to know that we have the next 7 generations to look after. So those decisions that we make today, when we're turning on our HD TVs and all the big things that are, you know, nice today, are robbing our future and those children and our grandchildren of what they can have in their future. So that's how we need to look at it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Oh.
After the break, we'll be taking a look at how eating locally grown foods can impact our health, the health of the environment, and help us live a little bit of the good life at the same time. Stay tuned for more Optimal Living. Well, there are lots of things that nourish our well-being, from healthy relationships to a good night's sleep. But eating well is one of those fundamental ingredients in life that's not only good for our bodies, but it can also be good for our environment too. And here to share more on that is owner and chef of Nick and Nat's Uptown 21, Nick Benninger.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making time for us today. So, Nick, you're one of many great chefs in this area, but who's especially known for taking great care to choose high-quality local ingredients in your cooking. Why is that important to you?
People always kind of tag it as a local thing. We didn't really start doing it because of local food fads or anything or any kind of mission. It was more driven by often the best foods we could find were made locally. The people that are like-minded to our approach to business, we could meet locally and explore their products and sort of grow and develop more products. So it wasn't necessarily a local food trend. It was a common sense approach for our business. As a second benefit, local food's fantastic. We love the movement. We love encouraging people to eat locally, but we approach it from a common sense point of view of like, we do it because it tastes better and it tends to be more sustainable if you do it that way, I think. So.
Right. You're right. It has sort of become trendy with, books like and things like the 100-Mile Diet and all that trendy factor, if you will. But there are some real sound, just practical reasons too, why it's good for your business and good for the food that you're making.
Yeah, fantastic. We get, when you develop relationships with the people actually growing and making the food for you, they become, in a sense, business partners. They'll do things for you nobody in Mexico would have done for us if we ever needed it done. And it would be impossible to even approach. These people will grow specific things for us. They'll grow them longer in the fields. They'll finish them in certain ways when it comes to our meats. So, and in doing that, it just supports a relationship that is good for a small business to have, I think, is that sort of like neighborhood, family kind of approach to things. So
sure, that's true. And besides those benefits too, not only the practical business side benefits, but having that locally grown fresh food is good for, personal wellness, for your personal physical health as well.
Oh, big time. I mean, there's obviously the produce coming in is 100 times better as in not only in what it has in it as far as nutrients go, but our kids will eat a lot more of it because it's better. It tastes better. They get to go to the markets and pick it out themselves. So it's not even just about the food being better. It's about getting us to eat more of it. And I'm a hardcore carnivore, but I love coming spring just weeks away. I love the idea of, I can't wait for the different vegetables we're going to eat and things like that. And I never would have had that insight or feeling if I was a grocery store shopper. If I bought my asparagus 12 months a year, I would never so much anticipate the first ones to come up.
Right, because it really is. I mean, once you get used to tasting the difference between locally grown fresh food that's in season, there's no comparing.
No, it's incredible. And it's more evident in certain things. If you want a good example, get a bulb of garlic in the season in the summer, or a head of lettuce. Those are and asparagus. I mean, asparagus is the no-brainer, but lettuce, garlic, try those things first and you'll really notice the difference in things like that. Then you can venture into more like carrots, apples. I mean, it's endless what we can grow here now. Sweet potatoes, everything.
Yeah. And of course, using local foods is also good for the environment for lots of reasons that are kind of far reaching.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's obviously the environmental impact of not having to travel to for your food to get to your door. And that's a big part of it. And that's why it's so fun to kind of embrace this concept, because it's so multifaceted, and at the same time, it's just good. The food's better.
Yeah. And not having all those, the side effects of all those carbon emissions from traveling from, who knows where to get here to our plate. So there's also that impact. It really is kind of an interconnected thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, as a chef who is very much into using local produce, you and your wife and business partner, Natalie, have launched the Iron Chef Uptown project, which is really, I think, a testament to your commitment to sourcing foods locally. So tell us a little bit about Iron Chef and why it's so successful.
Well, the reason it's so successful is because the community is just eating it up, no pun intended. What we do is we bring in local chefs to compete in our kitchen. We close down about a half hour early so we can clean up and let them in. And we bring in, instead of a secret ingredient like you see on TV, we bring in a secret farmer. So the farmer actually shows up, waits in the back alley, and when the time's right, he comes into the kitchen and we announce his product. They sit on hand and they judge. They sit on the judging panel and taste the food, comment on the food, make the chefs sweat. It's actually quite hilarious to watch the farmer critique the chef's food right in front of them and give the insight of, hey, I pulled this out of the ground earlier today and now you've done this to it. So it's neat to see the chef squirm. The success is just, there's a big appetite in this community for food, for good locally grown foods. And this is a smart community, and these people want the things that we should be doing as a community, which is moving forward and embracing this local food movement and just this culture of being more responsible.
And I think
with our
that
food
kind of lends
choices.
itself to another aspect of local eating and good eating, and not just that it's physically good for us and physically good for the environment, but eating good food is part of the good life.
Oh, for sure. It's and that's why we started Iron Chef in the first place. Actually, we just wanted to have some fun. We invited some chefs over to have some pints in the back and just, take a bit of the good life back. Is we work really hard. We want to party at the end of the night. Yeah. And it's true. You have to reward yourself with that good feeling inside, and that local foods are that in the sense that they taste amazing and they make you feel good about what you're doing. So
food is something simple. I mean, we all have to eat food every day. Why not make it not only healthy, but fun as well?
Enlightening and something that makes you feel good about yourself. So.
Exactly. Thanks, Nick.
No problem.
So make sure to boost your health, the health of your local environment, and enjoy a little bit of the good life too by eating delicious locally grown food whenever you can. You can find out more about Nick and Nat's Uptown 21 restaurant and about where to find locally grown food by visiting our website at optimallivingkw.com. What a terrific show we've had today, with lots of great insights, new ideas, and ancient wisdom about ways to improve our environmental health and improve our own health at the same time. Remember, by taking an integrated approach to your well-being, you can help improve the health of your environment and of your own self by learning how all the different factors are interconnected. And certainly in this great circle of life, all the aspects of our well-being are interconnected. You'll find that once you start making healthier choices in one area, you'll notice other parts of your life start to improve too. Make sure to catch all of the episodes in the Optimal Living series to see how it all fits together, and email me your comments and your questions by visiting the website at optimallivingkw.com, where you'll find more resources to help you take charge of your well-being. I'm Kelly Wagner, and until next time, live well and be well.